Hello and welcome to Superpower Broadcasting. I'm Kevin Castley. Thanks for tuning in today. I want to talk about AOC and her opposition to the Communist Party in China. Now, this is kind of interesting. Now, we can talk about the degree to which she would actually oppose China if she were president. And we could talk about the extent to which she would actually have the willpower to counter Chinese interests if she was in the White House or in an administration. However, she's not. She is the Congress member representing the 14th District of New York. And insofar as she is a Congress member, this is decent. This is decent. She's stood in solidarity with the Dalai Lama and has been an advocate for Tibetan separation from communist China and the yoke of the communist oppressors. She's also expressed support to the absolute ire of the tankies on her side. She's expressed support for the protesters in Hong Kong that are also opposing the Communist Party. So Samara Khan over on Twitter, an absolute brainlet, she's not too happy about this. And she brought this to my attention, actually. Well, not directly, but I happened to come across her Twitter profile, and she was highlighting a statement from Representative Ocasio-Cortez earlier last year, in which she stood in solidarity against the Communist Party. And this is something that you can say, well, is it that surprising? I mean, come on, most people support Tibetan freedom. Yeah, but you have to keep in mind, she's a progressive. She has to deal with people on her side that are going to call her a neocon imperialist over this. So let's take a look at the actual statement that Representative Ocasio-Cortez released. So this was from March 10th of last year, the 61st anniversary of the Tibetan uprising. Dear students for a free Tibet and Tibetan community, New York, New Jersey. Thank you for reaching out to our office regarding the 61st anniversary of the Tibetan Uprising March. For decades, the Tibetan, and now this underlining that's actually gone on here, the highlighting in yellow, I should say, that is a markup that Samara Khan did to show how much of a ghoul and an imperialist and a warmonger Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is. I know it's laughable, but given that these are the kinds of people that she has to deal with on her own side, even this is still impressive from AOC. So for decades, the Tibetan people, and this is the spooky sentences, the Tibetan people have bravely fought for their freedom. She sounds like a neocon, right? It is the responsibility of all those of us who value freedom of speech and expression to stand with them against China's gross human rights abuses. And now the highlighting stops for a little bit. That series of statements there, that's true. There's nothing, there should be nothing controversial about that, but this makes her a warmonger. And you might say, oh, come on, Kevin, you're blowing this out of proportion. Did Samara Khan actually accuse AOC of being a warmonger? Yeah, we'll get to that a little later in the video, because she did. So the statement from AOC continues. I am proud to stand with the Tibetan residents of the 14th District of New York and all those across the country in their, and again, underscored, highlighted in yellow, because it's spooky. This is the neocon speech, right? She sounds like a neocon. She says, their righteous fight against persecution. Look at that, buzzwords, propaganda. Oh, she's like an imperialist supporter of like the military-industrial complex, bro. Yeah, except they are in a righteous fight against actual persecution. Have you looked into what's happening in Tibet, what's been going on there for decades? I mean, the Communist Party is trying to wipe out any indigenous culture there that is against Han Chinese, or even not even against, but just independent of Han Chinese chauvinism and hegemony with communist characteristics, right? So sincerely, and she signs it, and again highlighted under there to underscore just how spooky AOC is. Now, am I a supporter of AOC? No, I'm not. Crowley's better than AOC for the most part. On economics, AOC's a joke. On Israel, she's a joke. But on China, hey man, I'll take it. That's what I say. Based AOC? Question mark. What do we think? Is this based? I mean, we could say, well, she should have gone further. She should have said, let's just blockade China and everything. Except, she's not in the White House. For a Congress member, you would expect this. But again, you have to keep in mind, she's from the progressive Justice Democrat type wing. She has to deal with Kyle Kulinski, Kremlin Kyle, neckbeard Jimmy Dore, and all their freaks and losers. She has to deal with them. They're not happy about this. I mean, we watched on the show just the other day how Jimmy Dore was just lambasting AOC as basically this right-wing warmonger. So the fact that AOC, even though this is what you should expect from somebody, the fact that it's AOC doing this actually makes it more satisfying, because she's the woman that they thought was going to be this anti-American and an anti-Western champion. And it turns out, no, actually, here she is saying, hey, well, actually, freedom's good, freedom of speech is good, and human rights abuses are bad, and the communists persecuting the Tibetans is bad. Oh, well, now she sounds like a right-wing capitalist ghoul in the eyes of, all of those in the progressive circles, the radical left. I like it. I like how much they feel screwed over right now. And I want to point this out because you could say, well, there were lots of Congress people who have condemned the human rights abuses in China. And that's true. And we could talk about that. But again, that's to be expected. That's a low bar. For AOC to do it, though, it pisses off the tankies and all those people so much more because they had supported her. They thought that she would be different. And here she is saying, actually, human rights abuses are bad and freedom's good. I mean, look at how spooky that is. They have to highlight it. Samira Khan highlights it to point out how scary AOC is and how much of a traitor to the cause she is, or whatever. It's really good. I'm really enjoying this. So then I did allude earlier in this video. I said, well, you might be saying, isn't it a hyperbolic characterization, Kevin, to say that she is basically accusing her of being a warmonger and everything? Where here does she do that? Where here does she do that? Well, she doesn't do that in this. This is just a tweet that she had made, and this is the specific document from AOC's office that she was highlighting. She tweeted 6 hours ago today, the 2nd of January, 2020. She tweeted out this, and this is my response. She says, gold. And it's that meme of like a B-52 dropping ordnance and just says Republicans. And it's just, it's got the standard livery and everything on the B-52. And then there's Democrats. And it's like, it's also dropping the bombs, except there's Black Lives Matter, there's Yes We Can, and there's LGBT rights on it. So it's like, I'm really critical of the BLM movement. I support LGBT rights. And I thought that Obama wasn't even really a hawk, but that's cool. That's cool. I'm good with either, and then we'll zoom in on the last one. She added this. Okay. There's a little bit to go over here. So yeah, she is calling AOC a warmonger here. She's saying she supports the military industrial complex to bomb the enemies of freedom, the enemies of America, etc. So we got Black Lives Matter, we got the Democratic Party, we got some hearts, we got Jank. There's 6% Jank there. He got 6% in California's 25th district. That was funny. He spent over $1 million. He got 6%. Then we got AOC. We got AOC there. And then we got Rose for like socialist Twitter and everything. Then we got, that's the Democratic Socialists of America, right? Then we got Yes She Can. Okay, well, that's cool. Is this a reference to AOC, or is that a reference to Hillary Clinton? That might be a reference to Hillary Clinton. Well, Hillary Clinton is by and large pretty based. So then we got TYT, Young Turks. Oh, yeah, the total warmongers over the Young Turks, like Anna Kasparian, absolute warmonger. I mean, Jimmy Dore, just the other day, we played that on the show. He called Anna Kasparian a pro-war NATO dupe. Exact quote. She thinks Tulsi Gabbard's a neocon and opposes fighting Al-Qaeda. She can't even fight Al-Qaeda. She can't even get behind that. But look at that. They're warmongers. They support the B-52s dropping bombs. And then again, we got LGBT rights. Wait, but it is good to liberate oppressed people that get murdered for simply happening to be gay in, say, Iran or Pakistan or North Korea or China. That is good. Like, look, I'm not a democratic socialist. I'm a neocon. I'm on the right. I'm center right with socially liberal leanings and economic center right with protectionist characteristics. I'm not a fan of really any of this, except there are a lot of Democrats that I like. I don't like Cenk. I don't even like AOC. Definitely don't like the Democratic Socialists. Yes, she can. Well, like, I don't have any issues. Like, what's wrong with having a female president? That's cool. Young Turks, I used to watch Young Turks all the time. I think they're a joke. BLM, pretty critical of it. We watch the riots and everything on the channel all this time. So I'm telling you this here from somebody who, like, not on this side, but I support LGBT rights. They happen to make, Samara Khan happens to make the people that I call out all the time look totally based and hawk-pilled. I mean, she's basically making them look like neocon ghouls right now. So when you're so far to the left, when you're such an anti-American fifth column that you think that Cenk Uygur and AOC are warmongers, yeah, you're off the deep end. When you think that the Democratic Socialists of America are an imperialist, pro-America, basically neocon group, you're off the deep end. You are not a sane person. Samara Khan here. So I quote tweeted just like, we're bad. I mean, there's a lot that I could have said about this, but I'm just like, oh, we're bad. Because it's like, what? Oh, bombing the communists is bad. That's spooky. Oh, letting the communists take over the world and butcher everybody? Oh, no, that's not spooky. That's just anti-imperialism, bro. Let's just let the Soviets invade Vietnam. Let's just let the Soviets invade Europe. Let's let China invade the world, man. Let's just let them subjugate Africa, man. No, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And so, is AOC actually based at the end of the day? No, not really. But the fact that she grinds the gears of those who put so much faith into her that she would just parrot their stupid bunk and junk talking points, and then she goes and says some things that just make common sense, and it triggers them to the end of the world. Yeah, I gotta say, that is based. And I want to give her credit there. We give Trump credit. It's like Reset. We give Trump credit when he does things that we like, even though we don't really support Trump. Well, we don't really support AOC either, but if she's going to do stuff that we like, we should give her credit for it so that she can get more hawk-pilled and so that she can do more hawk-pilled stuff down the road. Like, I would totally welcome it if AOC came out tomorrow and said, you know what, I support LGBT rights and, I support, minority rights and everything, and therefore I support bombing Iran, and we got to take out Iran because they want to nuke Israel and they are a menace to their own people and they kill gays all the time. Imagine she came out and said that and just said, yeah, I'm a liberal hawk, guilty of charge, deal with it. We would give her all the credit in the world, and that'd be based. Just like how if Trump said, oh yeah, Iran's a threat to Israel and everything, threat to security in the region, they're a menace to the region, and they've taken down our, military infrastructure, et cetera, in the area and our assets. We're going to go in and bomb them. It doesn't even really matter. Like, I mean, whether you make a more humanitarian argument to do it or you make a more national security argument to do it, I would welcome AOC and Trump both coming out and saying hashtag bomb, 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 bomb Iran, right? So we got to give these guys credit. We got to give her credit. We got to give him credit. Because if we don't give them credit and we say, oh, we're never AOC, AOC is too far to the left, or Donald Trump's too far to the right, or whatever, Donald Trump's too populist, AOC is too populist, never AOC, never Trump. What incentive do any of them have to ever do anything that would impress us? Nothing. Like, that's my main criticism of the Lincoln Project and people that I generally like Bill Kristol and even David Frum and everything. Is like, if you're never Trump and you're never really going to give Trump credit, what incentive does he have to ever try to win you over? Because you're already a lost cause then. In other words, you've just said, hey, look, you might as well just go as populist and as anti-war as you want because we're never going to give you credit if you do anything that makes sense. That sucks. That really sucks. And we're not about that at this show. We give credit where credit is due. And you know, we want Republicans, we want Democrats, we want liberals, we want conservatives, we want labor, we want Tories, we want people for both sides of the aisles to get hawk pilled, right? And we'll give credit where credit is due on that. So I just want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Stay based, everybody. Peace.